The Omid and Kojo Show.
Just wait until Omid, then we'll get started. I have something pretty exciting to talk about today, actually. It's to do with KTL, but it's not tutorial related, so don't worry. I'm not going to be just going on about that. Bloody Omid. I was on the phone with Omid like 2 minutes ago, and he still manages to be late. Though maybe he's not late. He's probably in here hearing me talking shit. I don't see him though. Oh, there he is. Okay. Solved. Don't worry.
Yes, I'm in here listening to you talk shit away, man.
I knew you would be.
Hang on.
Put me back. Oh, Nathan just watched the Alex Hunter interview. Did you enjoy it? I thought near the end we got into some really interesting stuff. Thought it went pretty well. Is Omid your lover? Be honest. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, might as well be, you know. I mean, apart from the bum stuff, might as well be, you know.
Can you stop outing homosexual relationships?
Oh, you want to see me running up a hill? I was
Oh,
doing that earlier. That's me running up a hill.
Filming it as
I
well.
told you, I was just running up and down this hill. It's steeper than it looks. But yeah, that's what I do. I run up and down hills in a swamp. That's how I do on my off days. Yeah.
When Omid's
All right, so Omid.
Wow.
So anyone who's watching, anyone who's going to be watching the whole thing, take note of this now. Take a mental note of what I'm telling you. Because when people ask what we're talking about, if you could just let them know in the comments so we don't have to keep saying it, that'd be amazing. I'd really appreciate that.
If you can do our job for us, that'd be lovely.
And it's better for the people watching on YouTube as well, because
Yeah.
they don't have to hear me repeat myself all the time. So what I wanted to talk about is big plans with KTL. And I have a potential idea that I haven't fully explained to Omid yet, actually. Will Schwomid appear? Not yet. Not yet.
Towards the end, we're going to do a little thing.
So here's my big idea. For a long time, because if you think about it, in the last 10 years or so, there hasn't really been a big piece of tricking media. Apart from, like, I think Big was a really big one, but that's like a documentary. But I mean, in terms of just a sampler, there haven't really been any game-changing samplers in a long time. Like, there's been samplers, but none of them are like that high effort. Any sampler that's filmed...
It's not a production. That's the thing, because there's been really good samplers and the tricks are really good, and it might have been filmed okay for a sampler, but there's never been like a groundbreaking where it's the tricks are incredible, like super high level, super interesting, and the production side of it is like really, really high level as well.
Yeah, like pretty much everyone that's been filmed by a really good cinematographer, then it's always been like they get a tricker, go to a city or something and just film them for a day. Maybe they film it over a couple of days, but it's never anything really high effort. So what I'm thinking we can do with KTL is make this kind of group sampler, but something that's a real spectacle, like a real game changer. So we fly out. I reckon out of these trickers, maybe we'd be able to get like 4 or 5, maybe 6. But you get people like Ethan Turner, Alexander Anderson, Riku, Sando, Johan maybe, Alex Hunter for sure. I really want to get Alex Hunter to Europe. But you fly all of them, and because of the times of year and stuff, I really want to do this in the winter, just because I want to do it soon and I can't do it now. So I'm thinking like January or something. I'd fly them all to Spain because the weather's going to be decent enough in Spain, and it's going to be pretty. I think Ethan would be down for this.
Yeah.
So basically, I talked to all the trickers before about the plan, and the plan would be like you got to have 2 to 4, maybe more if you want more, but like 2 to 4 combos that are super interesting and super unique to you. So you're doing like your shit that only you can do, the stuff that you do best. And you have them prepared, so you know you've got them down and on lock. You can do them on like hard grass or some on concrete even. And everyone just has to try and get their 2 to 4 combos done as well as possible And even if it takes like 2 or 3 hours for us to get this incredible shot, like we'd be sneaking into castles at night with spotlights and shit, and just to get like one shot. That's what I want to do. I want to do like a 5 to 7 day long tour around the country of Spain, trying to get the best tricking shots we can possibly get with all of these different really good trickers. So every single shot's like in a different place. Every shot's filmed really well. And then someone like Perke from the Netherlands, who's like a really good cinematographer, or maybe Mateus, if he was free, the guy who filmed Edited Source. Someone like that, someone who knows tricking and knows cinematography, fly them out too, and they'd be like just in charge of filming the sampler and making the sampler, and they get a free trip and a tour out of it and all of that. And if we need to rent camera equipment, like extra stuff, then we do that. And we just try and make the best like 6 or 7 minute video, like collab with fire breathers and shit in Barcelona, because of the Instagram followings of all these people, I'm sure we could meet up with some interesting people. I want to have shots where there's someone, 2 people breathing fire in the back, someone going past on the unicycle. I want it to be a spectacle.
A man riding on the back of a bear.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want every shot to be super interesting, because free running does that. Free running goes on these big trips and makes super sick videos out of them.
Well, okay.
But tricking doesn't. And there's a couple of these questions which I have thought about. Someone said, this sounds expensive, and is there profit? Or also, Ethan said Jack Vu could provide some cinematography. Yeah, someone like that. If we could get like someone who's really good at what they do, get them out to film it. But in terms of cost, I'd hope to be able to do it somewhere between 3 and 5 grand, which I think would be 100% worth it. And I'll tell you why. Because there'll be a really good, like, incredible collab, like the best sampler ever that comes out of it. So that will be on YouTube, and hopefully it ends up getting a lot of views, because it'll be so good. So you'd expect it to get some kind of traction and maybe inspire like next generation of tricking, or people it's just a really good video for people. But what would also come from it is when you try and do something really hard. So we're trying to make every shot incredible. I'm imagining like people spending 2 hours trying to get one shot for the thing.
Possibly days, like, because they have to get a little bit of a recoup, and then they have to come back and they're psyching themselves up, and it's like, it's going to make for an amazing story.
But there'll also be an after movie that comes from it. So someone's filming, like someone said, the extended or behind the scenes, but someone's filming everything that goes on, because you know there'd be funny stuff that happens, there'd be loads of tricks that don't make it in, and there'd be loads of like challenges, and it would show what we're doing to get these shots. We kind of show the philosophy behind it, like what we're actually trying to produce here. We're trying to raise the standard of tricking samplers, because there's never been a really like a well-funded, really sick sampler. And if there ever is, then it's always by a company who don't like know that much about tricking, not someone who dedicates every second of their life to tricking like me. You know,
they just end up ruining it. From all of the ones where there's a real production, they end up just throwing you into some like graffiti location, and there's some dubstep playing, and there's a lot of like RGB split cuts and stuff like this, and it's just like it's not you're not capturing the essence of tricking. Whereas I think not only the sampler as an end result will be incredible, it'll be the kind of the after movie will show everything that goes into it, all the thoughts, the camaraderie that comes along with the tour, and just the ridiculous funny things that happen, because you can't put people like that in one place for a week-long trip and not expect them on top of roofs and getting outrageously drunk and doing stupid shit. And it's just like, it's the most entertaining thing to do. And then if that's packaged really, really well and filmed nicely, edited well, it's just going to be really entertaining for the viewer. Now, there's various different things that could be done in order to, like, if anybody a part of the community wanted to like help support it, there's ways that, like, for example, if we did like, I don't know, merch as a part of the tour, and like if you wanted to buy it, then you could also buy a t-shirt as a way of like supporting it and also repping a cool tee. Then obviously you got your boy Alexander Frederick Midvar and Suppliety Clothing right there with you.
But you're not bloody paying for it.
Nah, but I was gonna say, if it was going to be something where we'd like actually do if we do merch, for example, then it'd be like, okay, I'll sort all the merch, and then we just do a percentage split, and any of the money that goes towards it, as long as it covers the costs, then I'm happy to do that.
You could do that as well, but that's not where the profit's from, and it's not even about the real profit comes in the long term, and that's not like not some immediate payoff. That's just really showing the tricking community what the website's about. Because it's one thing me just saying it. Like I've been saying for years that tricking's the most important thing to me, and I actually care about making the best tutorials I can, and I care about all of these things. And we charge for KTL to fund that, so we can do that. But from someone on the outside who doesn't know me, they're just not gonna know that. They're gonna think, well, yeah, he's just trying to make money off of tricking. I'll just watch YouTube tutorials, which are way worse. But like, I get why people wouldn't believe that these are way better. But if we do this, and I want to do more things like this in the future, it shows like, okay, so these guys are just trying to make really sick stuff for tricking. So I'm thinking that could really help people to understand what we're actually about and how it's not just a money-making scheme. And it would prove it. It's putting your money where your mouth is. And also it provides content for the site as well. And that's the kind of content I want to get. I want to get more like whole documentaries and really in-depth best samplers ever. I want to move away from the small videos. It's just going to be, no, not samplers, really in-depth best tutorials ever. So it's just going to be that and this like super entertaining high production value content, just that stuff. No, because I've done enough of the smaller videos now, want to move on to that. So I think it'll be totally worth it without any immediate monetization, just because I'd be able to give that to the members, like the hour-long after movie, and there'd be the sampler, which would be promotion for like years to come, and it'd be really fun. Get all these trickers together, they'd all promote the site as well. Yeah, I think it'd be sick.
Yeah, it seems like a win-win situation for both you personally and also KTL, because like that's another thing as well. Like, it'll be mad fun. Anyone who's a part of it is just gonna have so much fun that like even that alone, like any of the costs that are incurred initially are gonna be worth it because it's gonna be an amazing experience.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be fully worthwhile. And this is like starting at when I was talking to Jay Fung when we were like planning to make the site. This is the sort of things that we wanted to do with it. You know, because there's no one really has. No one's in the right position to do that apart from KTL and well, like, and Adrenaline are as well, but they're not going to do that. They're going to spend it all on doing some battles, but I'd rather make the best sampler ever, you know? So we're the ones to do it.
Nice.
Get you there, Kyle. Maybe Peen would be down to come. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. I'd love to be a part of something like that. Yeah, just filming and taking photos, getting the behind the scenes photos and stuff, and like helping with anything that I could, and also just getting on this ridiculous trip would be mad fun.
So Aiden's just commented something that I thought about a lot with this sort of thing. This is another big reason for it. He said, this is a part of the reason I want to get good at tricking, to be a part of shit like this. And like, yes, I want there should be things in tricking that like people starting out can look at and be like, yo, that looks like so much fun. I want to do that. I mean, I had that when I started tricking, just looking at like gatherings and stuff. Yeah. But at the moment, like, what do we don't have much in that way. We have the battle side that's put out, but it's like, it's not really, unless you're the best or in the top 3 in the world, you're probably not going to be winning many battles. Battles for most people aren't that fun anyway. Like, I think even for battlers, you're not going to find, would you find going to a battle event and just competing against people, waiting around for hours and then having to compete again? Would you find that as fun as going on a crazy tour with a whole group of trickers and just doing whatever? Because I think the crazy tour is more fun. And I want to get that out to like beginners so they can see, oh, if I get good at this, I can do all of this shit. You know? Yeah.
I don't know. Having that kind of incentivization for people when they're coming up, it just adds more eyes on KTL, but for all of the right reasons, because it's like people are looking at the things that you're setting up as a part of KTL and being like, yo, okay, I'm trying to be a part of this. And also, and then I don't know, it kind of, it feeds into itself, because it's like, I want to get way better at tricks, so I'm going to use the tools that are available to me. The reason I want to get good at tricks is so that I can then go and do this fun shit. But the way to get good at tricks is by watching KTL videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good way to go. I've been saying since I started YouTube that I'd love to be able to fund like big production things like this, but I've never been in a situation financially, the business hasn't been yet, where it can actually even just throw a little bit of money in, but it is actually getting there. So like, yeah, I don't know, maybe, obviously this is the kind of thing, it depends on what would be necessary, but I'd be maybe trying to sponsor it in some way if possible, and just throw some money towards it. And yeah, because I want that kind of thing. Yeah. Like, I want to help with these kind of things happening if I can in any way. I'm just looking at these comments.
Well, one of them raises an interesting point. It said what's it called? What's my website called again? KTL could have some kind of a platform for samplers anyway. Samplers these days don't get that much attention that they used to, even if the sampler is a really good sampler. And it's like, I think having them on there too, like, I'd want them to be on YouTube. Like, I like the idea of samplers being available for free in general, but this is the sort of thing I'd like to do, like pay the money to make really good samplers happen. So yeah, like, this is the sort of thing that could be replicated. You could get a whole different group of trickers in a whole different country and make the best sampler ever there. So this is something we could do multiple times to make more samplers. And in terms of having samplers on the site, I have thought, because of the new platform for the site rebuild, then it's like got a really good filtering system with tags for like searching videos and having related and recommended. Well, I thought you could copy over that same system and use that for samplers, just with embedded YouTube videos. So that, let's say you're a kid from Germany, you could search by your country, and then you could also search by your age, and you'd be able to find other people in your country, your age, and like see their videos. You could even filter by how long they've been tricking. Mm. And I'm thinking, if you got the community to try and add old samplers onto there, so it'd be free for everyone to see this. But yeah, it would just be a way of organizing samplers. Because that would be cool if there was a website that had a way of like filtering samplers. You could just say, oh, I want to see a style-based tricker, and like, you fill out a whole kind of form whenever you enter a video on there, so that people can like filter down exactly what video they want to look for, and they can find the style of tricking they're looking for.
It just cuts all the fluff and bullshit that you end up getting when searching for flips videos on YouTube. Because if you end up searching for like just tricking videos, then I don't know, if you don't really know what to search for, your search is too broad, you're not going to be able to type in stylish, or like, I want to watch a style sampler, and you're just going to end up getting like, oh, fucking hell, like Style Bender, the MMA fighter coming up. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, this isn't flips. I don't want to watch this man.
Old school Volty.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you're not going to find
watching a man punch someone in the head for 20 minutes.
Someone said, how long do you think this tour will last? I'd say under a week. It couldn't be that long just because of costs, and also everyone getting worn out. I'm thinking like a fast week. So we like hire a couple of cars, staying at different Airbnbs, and we're just going. We're in a different place every single day, and we're trying to get these like really crazy clips. We're going to all the landmarks around Spain and just all these really cool spots to try and make the best video possible. I think doing it longer, it just makes it a lot more expensive. And also I think that urgency makes it kind of more exciting, and will make for a better after movie, because it's like we're crazily trying to get this shit done. I think it'll be more compelling.
Yeah, it'll be, I don't know, whenever anything hectic's happening, ridiculous things happen. Like, it's like whenever you really need to get somewhere, you know it's all gonna go wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there'll be a lot that goes wrong. The good thing is, when you have an after movie involved, you don't have to feel that bad about things going wrong, because it makes
for entertainment.
Yeah.
No, I feel that. That's one of the best things about making videos. Like, depending on how wrong things go, like when I'm making YouTube videos and stuff, if things go completely south, like if they go bad enough, then it makes for just as much of an entertaining video. So like I'm watching it unfold in front of me, and I'm like, of course, this is my life. But at the same time, I'm thinking this is going to be a funny video to watch. So it's kind of fine.
What's the most tragic YouTube video you've had? Which one has gone the worst or the least to plan?
The one that always comes to mind is the cornstarch video.
Oh, is that when you had the pool full of cornstarch for months afterwards?
Yeah, let me set the scene real quick. I was like, it'd be cool if I could just make like, I like the cornstarch thing where you can like, it's like a viscous material, and then if you move it about a bit, it's kind of hard, and yeah, and it's like a liquid, but it's solid. Anyway, I bought an inflatable pool, and I bought like, I think it was like 22 boxes of cornstarch. So I spent like nearly 30 quid on cornstarch, and I was like, that's got to be enough. That's literally all they have in this Sainsbury's. So I get back to the house, and I pour all of the cornstarch into the pool, and it covers like this much of the pool. And the pool's like this big. It's absolutely enormous. And so I was like, I need more. I went and bought some more, but then I was like, I'm not going to spend like £100 on this. And then I also couldn't find anywhere that was open because it was getting kind of late. Needed a video for the next day, and I was like, fucking hell. So I just did it anyway. And I basically just, the goal was to do a backflip on cornstarch. But I essentially just did a backflip in some murky water. The most tragic shit.
And then,
I left it.
You left the cornstarch filled, blowed up pool in the garden for over 6 months, and it ruined the grass. It was in the way. It looked terrible. Yeah.
Hey, listen, it's not. I don't know, these kind of things. It wasn't the only thing that ruined the grass, and there was a bunch of other random bullshit knocking about the house. So I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
What do you think's the most tragic experience that you've had that comes to mind when you've been trying to like do something, or like a travel experience or whatever?
Give me a sec. Let me answer this first. Well, I think someone said, why y'all always on live together? It's because we do this thing called the Omid and Kojo show, where we talk about tricking related things and just random shit. And it's on YouTube. We got a YouTube channel for it. It's not just random. We do it on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So
yeah, 7:30 p.m. UK time. But okay, question for you guys, because I've always wondered about this. Like, depending on what platform you use, and depending on the way that you kind of display something, it can seem like more of a thing. Like, if these conversations were just no video but just audio on Spotify, people would call it a podcast just because it's in the podcast section of Spotify. But it's the exact same thing. Like, what do you guys think it's the same thing? Yeah. Well, someone said, Aiden said, a no budget podcast.
Pretty much.
It pretty much is. But at the same time, like, we did it before with no budget, and we had 2 cameras, and we were chopping and changing the angles, and it was taking hours to chop it all together, and it got the same amount of views, and it wasn't live. So we were just like, fuck it, let's do it here. And now we get to actually interact with you guys live while it's happening, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, it is nice having the audience involved. And also, this isn't necessarily forever. Like, we want to keep doing the show, but it's not necessarily just going to be on Instagram Live forever. It's just, if we do it like this, it's really fast to do. There's very little to do afterwards to put it onto YouTube. So it means we can do way more of them. And at the moment, like, I think for anything like this, like being able to entertain and talk about something live, it's a skill that you really need to develop, so that you're not just doing a really bad job of it. So we're kind of just trying to get like 100 episodes under our belt so we can be good at presenting like our live podcast. And then in the future, then we'll try and make it into more of a thing. At the moment, we're just trying to get better at what we do rather than worrying about how many people are watching.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, like, we want to get this to as many people as possible, because I don't know, a lot of people say they like it, and it's good when we've got loads of people interacting. Like, when we did our first stretch session, there was like 50 people watching, and we got loads of really interesting comments, and like, we were just having fun engaging with the people that were talking. And it was kind of like, the more people we have involved, the better and the more fun it is for us. Because when it's completely dead in the chat, like, obviously we have our conversations and the topics that we want to talk about, but if we move it over to another platform, we're probably going to, I would assume that we would take somewhat of a hit in terms of the amount of people that are watching and stuff like that, because it's not as accessible.
Well, there is this question. Do you think you'll bring other people, trickers, etc., on for interviews and discussions? We just posted an interview with Alex Hunter, the third person to triple cork and style legend, most impressive. Yeah, one of the most impressive trickers I've ever seen in person, like one of my favorites. So yeah, that's on the YouTube, and we're going to do more of them. So yeah, there will be more of that as well. I wish we could have 3 people on Instagram live, but we can't really. We tried it, didn't really work.
We'd have to be like hugging one another in order to both be on frame.
Because think for us to both be on camera, like you'd have to be like there, and then we have the other person. And we've already got people calling us bent, so you know.
Yeah, it's not what you need.
If Omid was there, I don't know.
I'd have to. One of us would have to sit on the other one's lap while we're doing it. Like the other one just kind of cradling us, just like looking like one of those kind of graduation bent photos of a couple.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, there's that. But going way back, if anyone remembers, Omid asking me about my tragic experience. Which did you say tragic video experience or just tragic?
Well, I was thinking
because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Let's not. We're not trying to make this one an emotional one. We're not trying to get Kojo crying.
No, I got my funny. There's the funny tragic one, so on there.
Well, I was thinking video, but whichever one you think is most interesting.
I've already talked about the whole Israel in the warehouse alone at night situation.
Well, okay. The one thing I always think about,
bad.
One of your tragic experiences is that, but was that the same trip as when you were in Lyon or somewhere in France and you hurt your back climbing that tree? Or was that was one? That
was the day after. That's one of the reasons why it's so bad. So I went to this, well, I did like a workshop in France. I was just there for one day and did some battles or whatever. And then after that, when we went back to the guy's place for me to just go and sleep, then climbing the tree, then my back just went completely and I could barely walk. It's the worst my back has ever gone. I could barely walk at all after it. I was just moving around like this, and I was meant to go to Israel the next day for Tricks Rail gathering. So I was hoping I could get out of it because there were problems with my flight when I got to the airport. But then they ended up moving me onto another flight. So I was like, I guess I'm going to Israel then. And yeah, so I had to do a 4-hour flight to Israel. I could barely move my back. So I just tried to drink a bunch of wine to make me feel better. And then when I got there at 4 a.m., my back's destroyed. I can barely walk. And where do they take me? They take me to the dusty gym, to the 3rd floor of this warehouse building. The 2 floors below, abandoned. There's nothing there. And then they leave me there by myself. First night, just in a gym. I got nothing to sleep with. I'm just in this dark building I've never been to in Israel, and I could barely walk. And that was my night. That was my experience.
Oh, it's mad dark. I'm just opening this curtain.
Yeah. See, it's rougher. It's rougher being a guest than you guys think. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. I didn't have to, but I got myself into a situation at Hooked, this last Hooked, where I had to sleep on a hard floor in the cold with no covers at all. No pillow or anything. That one was really bad. That was kind of worse than the gym in some ways, because I was just kind of like this. I know I kept doing press-ups. Like in the night, I kept rolling over and doing like 30 press-ups so that I'd be warmer to try and sleep. Yeah, it's pretty tragic. Like just waking up to do press-ups every couple hours. What's happened? Is it my connection or yours, Omid? Seem to have lost Omid. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me and not Omid, or if you can hear Omid and not me, because he's just frozen for me. So I don't know. Yeah, JJ, you don't know about those press-ups. It was like every 2 hours I had to roll over and just bang out more. It was real tragic. I could have gone somewhere else, but I didn't. You know, it was a bad move. I left it until like, see if he can join again. Let's see if Omid can come back, if he can return. In the meantime, I'll just have a chat with you guys. What's going on? JJ, the most Kojo thing ever. Yeah. Because I could have got myself a taxi to another hotel and gotten a room or something. But I was like, it's already 3 a.m. I've got this floor. I'm just going to sleep on this floor. So I put on all my clothes. I put on my coat, did a bunch of press-ups and tried to go to sleep. And then I ended up doing more press-ups. It was pretty bad. And then the next night, I got myself into a similar situation, actually. Just for me not being prepared. All I had to do was ask the hosts, and I would have had a bed. Well, I did have a bed somewhere else that first night, but I just wasn't there. But the second night, I just needed to ask them, and they would have given me covers and stuff. But I didn't ask them, so I ended up sleeping on one bed with another mattress on top of me, like using that as my covers. And that was also pretty grim. So, yeah.
Sorry, mate. I don't know what happened. It just lagged out.
Oh, here we go. JJ says, I remember you asked for my bed with Matt. Oh, yeah. So you had me sleeping on the floor in the cold, JJ. You bastard. Nah, he was already asleep by the time I got home. But yeah. Go on.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to say about my trip to Israel. When the first time I went to Israel, I was on a flight and I couldn't sleep. And it was like a super late night flight. So I left at like 8 p.m. or something, UK time. So I'd been awake all day, got on this flight, couldn't sleep, drank way too much wine so that I could sleep, got back to my seat, and I was just dropping off, closed my eyes. And then immediately afterwards, heard an announcement on the tannoy, and it said, oh yeah, we're just about to land. I was like, right. So now I've got a hangover after about 3 minutes sleep, and then got detained for 8 hours by these Israeli people that were asking me questions about my dad, my granddad, and my mum, and all this shit. And I was like, I don't know my granddad's name. He was dead before I was born. I don't know what's going on. And yeah, I was furious. Kept being really pissy with them because I was hungover.
Oh, that's so funny. I would have loved to have just seen that. You with the Israeli border control.
Oh, dude, I was pissed. I was so pissed the whole time. I was so moody. And they'd ask me questions, and I'd just kind of look at them like a teenage girl that was like... Oh.
Right, I think the moral of this story is don't go to Israel. Nah, it's not. It's not that bad. There was some really cool stuff there, but
yeah,
I
don't know. The last time I went was incredible. One of my favorite trips. Went to bloody. Where did I go? The Dead Sea. Dead Sea was sick. Also, can you get rid of this question?
I wanted to answer it.
Oh, okay. All right.
The pinned one. Yeah, I wanted to answer it. So the question from Brebovsky is, what do you think about beginners who want to hang out with pros at gatherings? Okay, so I have very clear views about this. So I really like it. Just meeting any trickers at gatherings at this point, like I don't really care what tricks they can do. It's just who the person is. So yeah, just talk to anyone. But there's a big difference. Like if someone talks to me, there's a big difference between the people who are just, they see another person, or maybe they've seen me on the internet or whatever, and they'd like to say hello, which is great. But there's a big difference between the people who are just seeing another person and talking to that person, and people who are seeking out like pro trickers to try and like be around them. Now there's a big difference. Yeah. So like, I think, talk to whoever you want. Say hi to Shosei if you want. Just don't be weird about it. It's the people who like are really trying to just hang around you instead of just have a conversation. That's the problem. People who are because have various. There's always someone who like tries to follow you around all the time, and it ruins the experience really. Like I've had gatherings where I've really not had a fun time because there's been people who like can't really have a proper conversation with me, but like bother me. I don't know. It's not.
They're just trying to be about.
That's 1 out of every 100 people is the thing. Like most people are completely chill, but you combine a weirdo and with like them, they've seen you on the internet, then that's where you get the problems. And there's normally like a couple of them at every gathering, which isn't good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just, you have to develop these kind of skills of being able to just chat to people if you do see them as something. Because like I remember when I was first tricking, it was crazy for me to see these people that were like my idols. Like even I was a guest, my first time being a guest in at an American gathering. I was at it was a gathering in Colorado, and Dan Pitlock was there, Alex Hunter was there. It was my first time meeting all of these incredible people that had literally like I must have spent hundreds of hours watching just those two collectively. And I met them, and I was another guest, and I was geeking. I was like, oh my God, like, it's so great to meet you. But it was like, they were saying that they were excited to meet me and watch me trick. And it was like, I felt as though I could do that because they were kind of geeking as well. And I was like, this is great. Like, these guys are just like people that I've watched for so many years, and they've done the same apparently with me. And so, but when I was a lot younger, if I were to meet people, I would try and like, I'd rein it in a little bit because I don't want to come over being a big freak. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to work on this kind of thing.
You did bother people though.
Yeah, I know I did, but that's why I was saying I had to work on it. Because like, from my experience, I was just a big nerd. Like, I was just like, oh, these guys are great at flips. I had the view that they were kind of like celebrities. So I relate to that kind of thing where if you're super nervous to meet somebody just because they're good at these flips, like that's the way I was when I was younger. But then I got better at it.
See, I was the opposite end of that spectrum. Meeting these people are like my idols. Like the first time I saw Velu and Vivian Yulu. But I just, for the first times I saw them, I didn't want to speak to them. I was like, they don't need to be speaking to me with my shit tricks. And I'd like stay away. That was my approach. So the answer is in the middle. Don't be afraid to say hi to people and talk to them. But also at the same time, treat it like it's someone you've not met before. If you've not met them before, treat them like a stranger. Just because you know who they are. If they don't know who you are, then don't treat them like you're already good friends with them. And I don't know, like you can make little jokes and stuff, but it weirds me out if people kind of make inside jokes like they're my good friend when I've never met them. Like, don't do that because it's weird. Like, just because Omid can say something to me, if you say the same thing and I don't know you, then it's pretty different. So avoid that.
I've had so many experiences where people have met me at a gathering or whatever, and they say something to me, and I'm like, what? And it's like the most obscure thing, and I'm like, nice to meet you. And then they're like, do you not remember? And then they're kind of pissed at me for not remembering. And I'm like, what are you on about? I've got no context here. And I've said it in a video one time 2.5 years ago. And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, I've made like hundreds of videos at this point. I don't remember everything. So I don't know. It's strange. But yo, this fucking message. The comments, sorry. Scar. So the first time I met a niece, I tripped down a set of stairs and Gabby told him I spoke fluent French.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too funny.
Classic Scar trick.
I love it.
And to little Sasha, hair on, don't worry, you're one of the first KTL members. Of course I remember you. I remember all of the original KTL members, the legends that made it all happen. I try to remember everyone.
Also, Aiden said, if I ever meet you, Omid, can I address you as Shromid? Only if I've got the headdress on. I'm working on a mechanical shrimp headdress suit.
You start showing up to gatherings for that.
I have to pay like £400 just to get it over the border and get it specially shipped. And then I get there and it takes like 45 minutes to put it on, and it's really heavy. Massive inconvenience.
I want Church of Stromid t-shirts.
Yo, it's gonna happen soon. What do you guys think? Do you want it? Do you want Church of Stromid t-shirts? Also, so there's Lionel gave me an idea for some merch of
what?
So it'll be you looking furious, dressed up as a chef, frying up a shrimp with my face on it.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd have my ramp face on.
Yeah,
that sounds
you'd
great.
Be like, you have like little cartoon, like, you know, and they've got like exclamation marks and like little bubbles showing you the furious and sweating and wearing a chef's hat. And it'll have like the Omid Kojo show logo on the chef's hat.
That's so stupid, but I love it. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, we'll make that.
Aiden will get one.
That's all that matters then.
That boy Willie will hook us up. I know he's not here right now, but if you watch this on YouTube, that boy Willie, we're thinking of you. Who else? Who's a regular on the live?
Who is a regular on the live? Alex Hunter.
Alex Hunter. Yeah, well, for this video, so back to what we were initially talking about with this best sampler ever going on like a week-long tour. Alex Hunter would be the perfect person. Just four or five Alex Hunter combos, like real full completed combos of just his sickest stuff. And it's like, because it's all style stuff, then I can imagine he can do most of it on like concrete. Because most of what he does is more technical. It's not like impact. Yeah. So I'd love to get him on it. And also, I haven't seen Alex Hunter in ages. So
yeah, I miss him. I really miss him.
He's a maniac.
I went to my last memory that really stands out to me. I hadn't slept at all. I think I slept like 20 minutes. I think it was Ohio. Oh, no, it was when he randomly was it? Yeah, I think it was when he randomly turned up at Euphoria. Remember that when he was just there?
Yeah.
He hadn't mentioned it. And it was like, it must have been like 6 a.m. And he saw me like stirring in this room that I was sleeping in. And he popped his head through the door and he was like, yo, I'm going to Waffle House or IHOP or something. And he was like, do you want to come? I was like, dude, it's like 6 a.m. I haven't slept. He was like, so? And so I went to, I couldn't find my shoes. And so I went to IHOP or Waffle House with him and Jordan Edwards at like 6:30 a.m. And it was great. Like no shoes. And Jordan Edwards could barely walk because he was on crutches and shit.
Damn. Oh, that wasn't really like a tour for me because I still had my cast on.
Yeah.
So it wasn't much fun. Yeah. But I've missed doing tours. Like I wanted to do a lot this summer, but the COVID.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be time though. There'll be time. That's why I'm thinking this for the winter. Somewhere like Spain where the weather's decent. Spain or Portugal. I think Spain's got a bit more stuff going on. Spain's a bit more reckless than Portugal. It feels like anything goes, you know, in Spain.
So, yeah, there's no rules. We can just be actual vagrants in Spain. Whereas in Portugal, you kind of need to be a little just be heathens in Spain, but not so much in Portugal.
Yeah, Portugal's just a bit nicer.
Yeah.
No offense if you're Spanish. I think Spain's great too. They're both better than the UK. I mean, you got nice food and it's warm. Like,
lovely women.
Just really lovely women. We have we're doing terrible on all of those fronts. So yeah, good job.
Little coffees as well.
Oh, don't get me started on little coffees, or I won't stop. On it. So here's something I was playing at the start. Did you see this just before the live?
Alexander's Quad Cork. Dude, it's fucked.
So
fucked. I opened my phone and watched that, and I was just like, I give up, man. It's the loveliest looking thing. Oh, it looks so perfect.
Like, yeah, Alexander has, for sure, it's the nicest looking quad cork by so far. Just his quads in general are my favorite to watch. And his touchdown raise is my favorite as well. Like, Alexander's touchdown raise is the main one I model it afterwards. I know, like, because I always get people telling, I don't know, like a few different people have messaged me and are like, I like TD Ray's like this style. And I'm like, cool. But they do it in response to like my one. And it's like, I'm not going for that. I'm going for like this style of touchdown raise. I like Alexander's the best.
Yeah. Well, someone said he makes it look so fucking easy. And in a way he does, but I think we were talking about this on the last live. When it looks too easy, it almost looks less impressive. But you can still see the raw power and the steez in which he moves is just it's perfect for this kind of thing. Like even though it's super high level, he makes it look cool. Like on top of it already being a cool trick. I don't know. He's got the perfect balance.
Swing in it, and
I
don't know. He just looks so light on his feet out of the touchdown raise. But yeah, Alexander, we definitely have to get him on this sampler tour.
Yeah,
get him doing some mad shit because you know he'd provide. So yeah, that'd be so. Who else do you think could come on it? By the way,
let us know.
Yeah, well, I was asking you on it, but the people. I think Tiki. Someone just mentioned Tiki, but yeah, I think Tiki could come because it'd be really cheap to fly him out just from Sweden. So yeah, could get him on it too. Yeah.
Who else? Who'd be good? Okay, someone I haven't seen in a very long time. Just because I think I love him, and also I think his tricks are lovely, but it depends on where he's at tricks wise. But someone like Ben Corvey, like watching his tricks is so. I don't know. It's so interesting to me with the extension and the way that he does kicks and stuff like that. And it'd be cheap to fly him out, but obviously it just depends on where he's at with
now.
But
yeah, I don't know. People actively tricking.
Well, no,
who else? We need like. Well, yeah, that's one. I'm just thinking like which other people. Because there's a lot of Americans, but I don't really want to fly out like 2 Americans, and it'd probably be Ethan Turner, Alex Hunter.
Yeah, that's a pretty good couple.
Kyle Epic Mendoza.
Maybe.
Do his scoops.
Get Manny Brown out as well. Fuck it.
Will Coney's. Well, with his. I don't know about him waking me up though all the time, so maybe not. I love Will Coney's, but that man, he needs to not wake me up. Like that's a big one for me. Don't wake me up early in the morning. Even though I get up early, I don't get up early in the morning when I'm on tours. Just when I'm at home.
Yeah.
A couple people keep saying, "What about Guthrie?" No way would Adrenaline allow him to do that, even if he wanted to. You think he'd be allowed? Nah. But
Big Brother would say no, of course.
That's one of the reasons why we need to do these things as well, like these super fun trips, because then it gives people like there's something else. You don't just have to. It's not like you've just got Adrenaline. There's not just one company you can work for and you're not allowed to do anything else. There's all these other fun things. So it's just more of a benefit for the people who aren't involved in Adrenaline. Mm-hmm. And I know Ethan is, so I don't know if I think he'd be allowed. I think he'd want to do it. I don't think he'd let them stop him, to be honest. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. But he seemed pretty positive in the chat earlier, so I think he'd want to come.
Yeah. Who else would be good? I don't know.
I'm thinking of people that we'd be able to... I'm mainly thinking of people we already know as well.
Yeah.
Because it would be harder if I've not met them. I don't know how they're going to be on a tour with it'd be pretty close. Nick Fry, someone said he'd be a fun one. His wild movements. Yeah. And yeah, Johan is crazy on concrete. If he'd come, that'd be great. It needs to be trickers. Really unique tricking styles is what we want. Who else? Who's really good, but also unique with the things they do?
I don't know. I'd love to see someone like Zen in a situation like this. Like, I feel like he'd be able to add so much to it. I know he's not going to do it, obviously, but like the things he's going to offer.
Children.
No, I know, but like for the trick side of it, just the sampler side of it, the things that he'd be able to offer on concrete, filmed really well. Oh, it'd be so crazy to witness. But
yeah, but not really at the same time. Like I totally agree. It'd be so crazy to witness. Yeah. But the whole point of this sampler, like, I think there's plenty of people who could add just as much because it's more about individuality we're going for, not just raw difficulty. Tricking's all about everything's raw difficulty at the moment. So I want to produce something that's more about like individual styles. Every combo is super interesting. I like if someone a cheap 9 hook touchdown base triple cork on concrete. That's the sort of thing that I don't think should even make it into this video. I think every combo should be interesting.
Well, that's not really the kind of thing I was thinking of when I was talking about.
He'd do loads of stuff. What I mean is there's just other people who could provide the same in terms of what we're looking for, but not be a child who doesn't speak English, you know, because that makes it harder.
Well, I just think of him because he just doesn't give a fuck. That's the thing. He doesn't give a fuck about his own well-being. And I feel like he would just do incredible things that everyone else is just going to be like, well, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to break my legs. But because he's a child, he's going to be fine. Like just doing a crazy shuriken bail and then doing it amazingly 2 minutes after. But yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of hard to think of people. I think we've named everyone that would...
Well, people are naming the Japanese. They're probably not going to be any Japanese people. And I don't have anything against Japanese people, but if they don't have really good English, it's just going to make things a lot harder. It just complicates things. This is already going to be hard to pull off. Someone said Alex D sounds like a must, but again, Adrenaline Pro, whether they'd let him go. Or if he'd want to. If you could get Alex D though, that'd be amazing.
That would be pretty
he's always been one of my favorites. But
and also he would just add. He's really creative as well with the shit that he does. Like he just have lots of interesting ideas.
Yeah. He could do a lot. I don't know. I don't think there'd be any need to overcomplicate it. I think as long as we could get, because I'd be there, you'd be there, probably Kyle would come, and then maybe like 4 or 5 other trickers. Because you need the camera people. Yeah, and then probably have to get like 2 minibuses.
Yeah.
I'm
just looking through these comments.
Oh no, you are.
Who is the guy who recently did corking? I don't think he's the type of guy we've got in mind, honestly.
Yeah, not that that's not crazy, but that's not what we're looking for. Like, crazy. Because I recently, actually, I don't know. I don't want to talk shit or anything on him, but I judged the competition for like Latin American tricking, and it was like crazy, but at the same time, it's like, you know, doing like a really hard combo, and then a backside 9 and a hook, and then another like really hard trick. Like that's the style of tricking that I'm not looking for in this video. Really, I'm looking for people who can do like everything, all their shit really aesthetically. Like I want everything to look really good and on point, and it will still be difficult as well because these are really good trickers. But the difficulty isn't the main thing. So unless someone has a really developed, unique style, then yeah, that's not what we're looking for. Like Riku's a perfect example. He's got no one tricks like Riku. No one tricks anything like Riku. And he also can do hard stuff as well. And it all looks fantastic. Yeah. That's the sort of thing I want. I want to show tricking in a new way. Because it hasn't been shown that. There isn't a video that shows like 6 or 7 really good trickers doing their specialisms on dead floor so muggles can like appreciate it. They're not going to just say, oh, he's on springs. You know, like something that really shows tricking and makes it look really cool and interesting and intricate, not just spamming like twists.
Aiden said you should get every type of movement, tricking, free running, tumbling, flipping. It's just a different thing. And like, we're not doing it to, I don't know, that's not what the purpose is.
Well, no, that would be cool. That would be cool.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a different thing.
Not this project. That's a different thing. Also, think free running is doing this. Free running has teams who go to places and make incredible videos. Tricking just doesn't have it.
Free running and parkour guys do that every week. Like they're out here grinding, putting out amazing YouTube videos and like having like bigger scale projects that they're putting out every single week. We don't have that in tricking really.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to do it purely for tricking because there's not many people who are like tricking purists really, and I don't mean that in a kind of exclusionary way. I just mean there's there's a lot of people who just do bits of tricking and general flipping, which is cool, but there needs to be people who are really about the tricking as well, like purely about the tricking. And I'm one of those people. So I'm trying to produce stuff for that. And there's other people who are more into flipping who can produce stuff for that. But I feel like there's not enough people who are purely into tricking at the moment. So I'm trying to be one of them.
No, I think it's time that you did the tricking talk.
Tricking talk, trick talk.
Yeah, the tricking version of the talk.
No, I can't be asked with like, honestly, I find it after that week off, I really just don't even want to be on Instagram at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't care. But I know it's like business. I like doing the lives. But when it comes to posting, I just always think the only reason, like, I'm like, why am I posting? You know? Like, the one reason is to show that I can do decent tricks so that more people are interested in KTL. That's the only reason, because if it's about like what anyone thinks of my tricks, I just don't care at all. As time's gone on, it's just become more and more just I only really value my own opinion on my tricks. Like, even people who are I'd see as my idols, because I've met lots of people who are my tricking idols, and they've told me like, oh, good shit, man, I really like your tricks. And actually having that happen, at the time I was like, oh, cool, but I didn't care at all. I thought that I would have cared, like Velu telling me he likes my tricks. I thought I would have cared, but I didn't. I actually really only care what I think. And I think when it comes to your own tricking, which is your art, really, I think you should only value your own opinion, because then you're making it for you. And I think you should be tricking in the way you want. I don't think you should let other people like stick their claws into it at all. And that's my problem with Instagram at the moment.
I get that. And I feel like, I don't know, in terms of like my idols saying that, you know, they've liked my tricks and stuff like that in the past, it definitely made me feel good, but like it still didn't change. It didn't change my perception. I'd still be like, oh, fucking no, but this stuff's shit. Like, I don't know, if I'm having a bad session, I'm not there thinking like, but you know, fucking Alex Hunter said he liked my combo. Like, I haven't got to worry. It's like, I still hate my tricks that I hate, and I still like the tricks that I like, and I still just want to be as good as possible and make the biggest progression that I can with my tricks personally. And I think it's what's helped me the most over the years. And like, I think it's helping the most now, because even though I'm seeing all these people doing really, really hard shit, like I'm still just being a lot more measured than I've ever been, because I'm only training on grass and I'm not causing myself to get injured all the time. And it's really starting to pay off. Like I'm happy with my progress over lockdown and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think not thinking too much about what other people think about your tricks does help a lot with that. Because the problem is, it's like, for the last year or so, since recovering from my ankle and really realizing I only have a limited amount of time to train tricking before my body can't do it, then I really want to like focus on a certain area of tricks and develop them. But that means a lot of repetition. That means a lot of repetition of the same sort of things. So if I posted my actual training, then it would seem very repetitive, and people would be like, oh, why don't you do something else and all that? That's why I'm just not posting much now, because I'm like, I'm just practicing my shit. Like, no one needs to see me doing 1,000 jackknives. But I mean, that's what I've been doing though. But you don't need to see me do that. You can just see in like 6 months time, when it's really, really good, you can just see the finished product, you know?
Yeah. How long have we got left?
We got less than a minute. So I was going to mention.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at these comments, but
someone said, wait, what's Richie saying? Couldn't not acting also be a con? I don't know what you mean.
Oh, not caring.
Not caring.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think when he's saying not caring about like what people think of your tricks, that's a whole other discussion that we haven't got time
what do you
to
mean
cover that. I think he's saying like, if you don't, I think he's seeing it from the angle like, if you don't care what other people think of your tricks, you could end up doing the worst tricks, and your tricks might look good.
Yeah, I get that. If you don't care about your tricks, but I care deeply about how my tricks look, but how they look to me. Like, I value my opinion. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've thought about tricks a lot. But 5 seconds left.
Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Thanks you for joining us live.